Here, we have discussed about the first part of the phase, that is the pre-planning phase. And we have little bit discussed about this demand ki how we can analyze the demand कि किस तरीके से हम डिमांड को अपने एनालाइज कर सकते हैं. आई थिंक at this point only I have left it. Yes. Okay. So we have discussed about this demographic, population density, age group. Then we discuss about the competitor analysis also. Whatever the existing hospitals are there, what are the gaps in those services? Means if there are 4 5 hospitals, they are not providing any kind of pediatric service or any kind of other service. So we can think upon that, and based upon that we can plan our hospital. Then and how we know all these kind of things? So we have to conduct a lot of surveys, stakeholder surveys. We have to do some interviews with the doctors, insurers, local authorities also. So we can get a good picture which kind of hospital is needed, whether it may be the general or the specialist or super specialist, and even you have some kind of idea of the footfalls also. And fourth source may be there from this thing, that is the government and the health data. You can analyze the government and the health data also. And if you see in your area there is a more prevalence of the this any non-communicable disease or some kind of other disease, then you can plan your hospital something like that. In few areas of the India, there is some problem. Suppose you take the example of some northeast region. There is one area where it is this cholecystitis is very much common. So of course, if you are going to plan some kind of hospital, you have to think upon this elaborated kind of cholecystatic surgery. Cholecystitis surgery means it has option should be there of the open as well as for the laparoscopic, and same time as well as the robotic also. That depends upon your the type of clientele in your area. It should not be like that. And for that, you have to understand this demography of your area is very, very important, because that gives you the picture of the economic status of your area. That gives the picture of the mindset of the people. Still, in India, people are still hesitating about to go about the robotic surgery. Even they have the money or they have the resources for getting that. So you have to see all these kind of aspects, and then you have to think upon that, whether planning a hospital or making a hospital, that is practically feasible or not. So under this feasibility study, one thing is that the demand, and what is the second part? You have to see, which has already been we discussed in the last class. That is a part of this feasibility study. The location analysis is very important. And third part is the financial viability. So we see the location analysis means site selection. कि हम कहाँ पे करेंगे? So we have to see, we should be normally it is preferred a hospital should be nearby to the population so that access and approach should not be a big problem. Okay, and that depends upon the nature also, urban and the rural. उसके हिसाब से we will decide कि हम population के, लेकिन ideally it is always uh, told that it is better to be in the proximity of the target population. Then we have to the transport and the connectivity also, क्योंकि at the initial level you have to see the from where the people, from where the patients are coming to you, and they can come to you only if there is any kind of proper kind of transport facility is there, proper road is there, and sometimes it's a good public transport services also required. Everybody, they cannot afford their personal car, or they cannot hire a car. So most of the people still in India, they travel by this public transport. So we have to see that connectivity also. Then we have to see land cost also. And land cost, may again, we have to see the same concept, operational cost and capex and the opex, because sometimes we take the area or the land on the lease or something like that. We take some kind of rented accommodation, all that kind of thing. So we have to see that. But there are few government laws. You have to see whether in that area you can create that hospital or not. Because sometimes there is some kind of a restriction from the government side. In that area you cannot create some hospital. It's a residential kind of area where the dense population is there. तो ऐसा होता है जैसे I don't take the name of the hospital, but the area I can tell you where I worked for a few months as a medical superintendent in the Udaipur. वहां पे the hospital was functioning amidst the dense population. And initially, though, people have some kind of, you can say, soft corner for the hospital. They think ki hospital, they are doing some kind of favor for the community. But over a period, one day, one nearby, one neighbor, he just entered the hospital by shouting and all that. And what was the problem? I asked him, क्या हो गया इतना आप क्यों चिल्ला रहे हो? देन ही टोल्ड कि नहीं वो आपका ऊपर जो ऑक्सीजन प्लांट चलता है उसका नॉइज पूरा हम लोगों को मेरे घर में आता है और हम लोगों को सोने नहीं देता है और दिक्कत होती है हम लोगों को सोने में फिर सेकंड उसने बोला ये जो आपका हॉस्पिटल का दैट इज द लिक्विड वेस्ट व्हाट एवर यू आर जनरेटिंग बाय दिस टेस्ट एंड ऑल दैट इट कम्स डायरेक्टली इनटू द पब्लिक सीवेज तो यू कैन सी कि sometimes for some period people will adjust you, but over a period it is not good suggestion to establish all this kind of thing into a very dense kind of population that can create a problem because a lot of sound generated sound may be there, oxygen plant may be running, a lot of other equipment they are running. Plus sometimes people may object also for the radiations and all though. However, we take care of this radiation part also, but they are slightly apprehensive. Nearby people, they are slightly apprehensive. Then we have to see the infrastructure availability also. Whether there is a proper water supply is there, electricity is there, sewer system should be there. These are the very important aspects because without these, you can imagine it's very difficult to run a hospital in a appropriate manner. If you don't have adequate water, adequate electric supply, all that kind of thing, it is difficult to every time you borrow some kind of tanker or some create your line and all that. That is a very costly affair. Capex is going to be increased. Then future expansion potential, you have to see the location in case if it is needed you want to extend or some suppose you are running a hospital in the future if you plan to make a medical college also something like that so this is all should be planned at initial level and based on that you can uh, construct your hospital. Then we have to see the competitor proximity also. अब इसमें it's a debatable thing. Sometimes you can think upon कि too close may create too much saturation and too far means there is no reference. What is your take? आप लोगों को क्या लगता है कि if many hospital they are looked together एक साथ एक ही जगह पे बने हुए हैं then it is going to create a very tough competition or saturation और हॉस्पिटल यदि दूसरे हॉस्पिटल से बहुत दूर है then there may be chance of कि लोग वहां पहुंचे ही नहीं. What is your opinion about this? ओके. क्योंकि कई जगह आपको ऐसा देखने को मिलेगा कुछ जगह से इफ यू सी द मेरठ एंड ऑल वहां देयर इज अ प्लेस वेयर लाइन से देयर आर एन नंबर ऑफ डॉक्टर दे आर सिटिंग जस्ट next to them and when first time I had seen that I was surprised कि what is the market strategy for that क्या होगी उनके लिए मार्केट स्ट्रेटजी की एवरीबॉडी इज सिटिंग जस्ट नियर बाय तो वो समझने की बात है कि यू हैव टू डू द एनालिसिस व्हिच काइंड ऑफ मार्केटिंग दे आर डूइंग दैट उन्होंने अपना कोई सेगमेंटेशन कर रखा है मींस दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग some specific kind of facilities so of course you have to try to avoid to do that on the same thing or you have to make yourself differentiate from the others because n number of hospital they are coming but every hospital has they can create their own space and that space can be created by three four things. Infrastructure is one part. Second part is that human resource whatever the doctors are with you if they are quite competent or the renowned doctor people are coming to your hospital then hospitality is also very important part. Doctor may be the good but hospitality of the hospital is not that much of good. So footfall pay that also affects that thing. So all considering all these factors, you have to decide you want to be amidst the various hospital or you want to go some at some distance from the existing hospitals. Okay, and there are a few tools also. Geographic information system is there, and they are able to do the mapping for the patient density. They can very tell you कि किस एरिया में किस टाइप के आजकल तो nowadays the time is of the artificial intelligence, so it can be easily told if from which area you are going to get maximum patient and which kind of patient. So that can mapping can also be utilized for that. And traffic and footfall analysis that you can also get from the various other hospitals. What is the footfall in their hospitals? What is the peak time? What is the suitable month? जैसे बहुत सारी चीजों में क्या होता है, people see the month also कि in particular month they don't go for the eye surgeries or they don't go for some big surgeries and all that. तो वो सारे फैक्टर भी आपको थोड़े से देखने की जरूरत है. So that is the part of this location analysis you have to do proper. And if you are creating or constructing a hospital, some kind of hilly area or some kind of flood prone area, so uh, since beginning you have to involve some clay scientist or the who can assess the मिट्टी की मिट्टी वहां पे किस टाइप की है, what is the scope of the landslide and all that. तो सारे लोगों को भी आपको अपनी टीम में शामिल करना पड़ेगा for their expert opinion. Okay. So that is the location analysis. And third, we can talk about this financial viability, cost versus revenue generate projections. कि हम कितना कर पाएंगे. And if we see the cost type, there are two kind of thing. Already we have discussed cost estimation. में in any hospital, anytime there both this capex and opex दोनों ही present होते हैं. Capital expenditure भी होता है and operational expenditure भी होता है. Only thing is that as a hospital administrator or the consultant, we have to fix a kind of balance between these two, depending upon our resources, our planning, and all that kind of. Okay. And revenue projections means कि after a period, how much you are going to make profit or something like that. One thing is that break-even analysis. And what is that? After a period when the cost of expenditure or cost incurred on the construction of the hospital, that part and the whatever the revenue you are getting from the patient, that should be the equal. Initially, you will be in the loss. There is no question of doubt when you start the hospital. It is not going to be a benefit venture for you. For a few days, you have to tolerate. You have to wait for that period, break-even period. After this break-even period, then whatever the revenues are generating, they are your profit over this construction cost and all that. Then we can also compare the price service pricing strategy. उसमें competitor pricing one that is very important. कि in your area, suppose there are various hospital who are doing the MRI surgery and all that. So you have to also do the analysis, and based on that, you have to make your packages also. Again, this is a double-edged sword. You cannot reduce your rate so much down. It becomes a problem later on for you to recover your cost. And sometimes it should not be so much high if people they don't want to come to your hospital. So again, this is a matter of you can say proper analysis kind of thing, and based upon that, you have to fix the charges of your various kind of services, whether it may be the diagnostic services, whether it may be the this consultation services or any kind of thing. If that is there, you have to do the proper kind of analysis and then you have to fix some kind of competitor pricing. And hospital की जो marketing होती है different type की होती है. Otherwise, जैसे कुछ products में क्या होता है, there is a penetrating kind of marketing. Means कि once you want to enter the market, तो क्या करते हो आप? You just reduce your rate to the minimum so that easily you can make your place in the market, and after some time you increase your rate. Okay. So that kind of penetrating marketing and all this kind of thing, that will be covered in the marketing part, how the marketing of the hospital is being done. Then we talk about this revenue streams जो है OPD consultations, surgeries हैं, diagnostic हैं, pharmacy rooms हैं, इनके रेंट वगैरह हैं, इनको हम कैसे फिक्स करेंगे, इनके प्राइसेस वगैरह कैसे फिक्स करेंगे, वो सारा हमको देखना पड़ेगा. Then insurance tie-up, we have to tie up with in present case, it is not feasible for any hospital to sustain themselves without the support of the टीपीए. जब तक टीपीए नहीं होगा किसी भी हॉस्पिटल के लिए इंडिपेंडेंटली टिके रहना, इट्स बिकम्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट. So we have to tie up with various insurance tie-ups so that we can get the good number of patients. As if you see in the initial part when the Ayushman India plan was launched for the insurance in the 2018 or 17, initially hospital they were reluctant because cost prices, whatever the package rates are were there, that were on the very lower side. So many hospitals they have not opted this Ayushman Bharat. But over a period, what they start treating this Ayushman covered patient. Why? They realize कि bulk of the patient, मतलब maximum people they are covered under this Ayushman. तो वहाँ पे quantity number of patient they increase in number because of this Ayushman Yojana. So they started providing this Ayushman cover to the patient. And same time, it is also the role of hospital administrator and other persons. They can optimize that package. कैसे उस package को optimize करना है, that is up to you. So that quality care भी मिल जाए and you can save money from even that existing package also. तो वो बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट है आपके लिए. फिर देन आपको फंडिंग रिसोर्सेस भी देखना एक बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट है, क्योंकि विदाउट फंडिंग रिसोर्सेस कहाँ से आपको फंड मिल सकता है. Investors are there who are willing to give you loan. Bank, you have to identify the bank also. And as discussed initially also कि government grant भी कुछ देती है. If you want to construct any hospital, any backward areas or some underserved area, means जहाँ पे facility है ही नहीं, वहाँ पे government gives you the grant. And I have given you some example of the Northeast and very recently that hospital which is going to be started in the Jharkhand, that is the Ajim Premji ka hospital, जो है, medical college का hospital that is going to be started. So that government has given the land. That particular hospital or medical college is located in a very isolated area where nothing, no other medical facilities there. Then a CSR fund, it is the corporate social responsibility fund. उधर से भी आपके पास कुछ पैसा you can generate from the other big companies. They can also contribute for the hospital construction fund and all that. So you have to see all these aspects in the financial viability, whether you are able to sustain with with this kind of financial viability or not. Then one thing is that financial ratios and the rate of interest analysis. These are highly technical terms in terms of the uh, accounting. Okay. So I hope this is also being covered, but इसमें जो मोटा मोटा चीज होता है, we have to see that payback period. कितने साल में हम whatever the money we have incurred, कितने साल में we can recover that. That is the important thing. Normally we considered within 5 years we are supposed to recover that thing. Otherwise, the venture is going to be in the loss. Second, net present value, it is a slightly complicated thing. It's based on some kind of values and all that. Then debt to equity ratio. What is debt and what is the equity? तो डेप्थ पार्ट जो है आपका, डेप्ट अपॉन इक्विटी, उसका जो रेशियो है फॉर हेल्थ केयर प्रोजेक्ट, दैट इज कंसीडर्ड एज इट शुड नॉट बी मोर देन 2:1. That is the normal kind of consideration. If it can be reduced, then it is again it is good sign for the hospital. But we should think upon that. Okay. फिर we have to do some kind of risk assessment and the mitigation. जैसे बहुत सारे रेगुलेशंस हैं, गवर्नमेंट के रेगुलेशंस होते हैं हॉस्पिटल बनाने के पहले, उसमें वी हैव टू थिंक अपॉन दैट कि हाउ मच टाइम दे आर गोइंग टू गिव. जैसे आपका कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए भी you have to first make your land commercial purpose kind of thing from the. So if your land is in the residential part, then you have to convert into the commercial part. Then we have to think about this NOC for the fire. Sometimes it takes too much of time for getting the NOC for the fire, एंड कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए भी बहुत सारे अदर्स परमिशन होते हैं दैट इज वेरी मच रिक्वायर्ड तो फॉर दैट ऑल्सो वी हैव सम काइंड ऑफ पर्सन इन आवर टीम हु कैन टाई अप ऑल दिस इश्यूज ओके देन मार्केट रिस्क वो आपको अपने आप देखना है जो पहले भी हम डिस्कस कर चुके कि हमारा डिमांड वेदर वी आर एबल टू जनरेट द डिमांड और नॉट तो उसको हम जो प्रॉपर एनालिसिस करेंगे प्रॉपर एनालिसिस के बाद वी विल सी कि अंडर इन विच निशे वी कैन वर्क वी कैन स्टार्ट द फैसिलिटीज जैसे दिल्ली में आप आके देखो जैसे बहुत सारे हॉस्पिटल है जैसे 140 का हॉस्पिटल दे आर जस्ट डीलिंग विद द मैटरनल इश्यूज दे जस्ट इन्वॉल्व इन दिस डिलीवरी एंड द पोस्टमार्टम केयर एंड ऑल दैट तो वहां पे उस पर्टिकुलर एरिया में जरूरत होगी नो अदर हॉस्पिटल is there to provide such kind of facility. So that is why they are doing that. Then we have to see the assessment, risk assessment, financial risk, which is also already has been covered कि cost overrun ना हो तो हम जो अपनी बजटिंग करेंगे थोड़ी सी कंजर्वेटिव टाइप की बजटिंग करेंगे कि हमारे पास जितना पैसा है उसको उसी हिसाब से अगले फेज में यदि हमारे पास पैसा बचता है तो हम उसको यूटिलाइज करेंगे ऑल दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग वी विल डू दैट so that is all difficult with the financial part. Okay. This is something about payback period, which I told you. Okay, payback period normally it is supposed to be 5 year. Shorter payback जो होगा वो आपका लोअर रिस्क होगा अब वो आप यू कैन इजिली अंडरस्टैंड वहां पे ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट आराम बहुत जल्दी आ जाएगा क्विकर ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट मतलब जितना पैसा आपने लगाया हुआ है एंड व्हाट एवर द रेवेन्यू यू आर जनरेटिंग फ्रॉम द पेशेंट दैट विल बिकम इक्वल इन अ वेरी शॉर्टर टाइम एंड जो लॉन्गर पे बैक हो गया 7 to 10 years दैट प्रोजेक्ट बिकम्स रिस्की मतलब यू हैव टू थिंक अपॉन दैट कि दिस प्रोजेक्ट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी सस्टेन और इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी वायबल so this is the mota mota guideline for general hospitals. We take 5 to 7 years for the payback, and for the super specialty hospital, इसमें थोड़ा सा ज्यादा टाइम लगता है तो we have to wait for that 7 to 12 years. So these are some basic kind of guideline to make you understand. इसके बाद जो मैंने IRR का बताया था तो वो उसमें हम बहुत डिटेल में नहीं जाते बट डेब्ट टू इक्विटी रेशियो में हम देखें तो आइडियली 2:1 होता है उसमें क्या होता है ऊपर वाला पार्ट जो आपका न्यूमरेटर होता है दैट इज टोटल लोन एंड नीचे वाला होता है ओनर्स इन्वेस्टमेंट तो इट इज ऑलवेज सपोज टू बी 2:1 आइडियल रेशियो इज 2:1 एंड इफ इट इज टू हाई suppose ratio is 3:1 or more than 2:1 then it is a risky project means high interest burden क्योंकि ऊपर का जो पोर्शन है न्यूमरेटर that is the interest that is the loan part and loan is not going to be you are not going to get the loan without interest so that is a risky thing एंड जो नीचे वाला है कि आपने बहुत ज्यादा डेब्ट इक्विटी रेशियो इट इज ऑन द वेरी लोअर साइड देन यू मिस्ड ग्रोथ अपॉर्चुनिटीज मींस you are investing very less in the infrastructure very less in the other part of the hospital it is very difficult to survive in the hospital so you have to make some balance in between that so that you can establish yourself in the market okay and these are the few things which already I have told. They are just the elaboration part in the summary. Payback is itna NPV जो है that should be more than 15%. Debt to equity ratio it should be 2.2:1. Okay. And for hospital administrators, job is there कि we have to see all these aspects. How we can increase the revenue stream, how we can control the construction card, construction and the equipment cost based on our capex and the opex kind of thing, and also have to see the depth and equity. That is why the MHA में topic is there for this accounting also. Later on, that I think that accounting part is also going to be taught to you. Already you have read. So that is again important you may not doing any kind of making any kind of balance sheet or something like that but over a period you have to see something like that थोड़ा थोड़ा you आपको यदि आइडिया होगा then it is good for you otherwise क्या होगा As a hospital administrator, everybody will, they just try to make you use of your unlawless कि अच्छा इसको तो जानकारी नहीं है, so they can make you just, or they can play with you, they can give you anything, all that. Okay. फिर we talk about one thing which I want to tell in this lecture, that is the flow FAR, floor area ratio. That is again important concept. बीच वाली जो slides है, they are on some technical part which we will cover in the subsequent lectures. Okay, कैसे हम cost optimization करेंगे, कैसे हम space optimization करेंगे, वो सारी चीजें जो हैं वो आने वाले लेक्चर में आएगी. So this is one basic thing, that is the floor area ratio. What is that? That is the total covered area of all floors and total plot area. So by example, if you see FAR is 2, means आपका सपोज 10,000 स्क्वायर मीटर आपका प्लॉट है, तो उस पे आप मैक्सिमम कंस्ट्रक्शन कितना कर पाओगे? 20,000. एंड 20,000 का मतलब कितना हो गया आपका? 5 फ्लोर. यदि आप 4 फ्लोर 4 स्क्वायर फीट का पर फ्लोर बनाओगे, देन यू कैन कंस्ट्रक्ट ओनली द 5 फ्लोर. तो जो ये आपका FAR है, फ्लोर एरिया रेशियो, दैट डिपेंड्स द साइज ऑफ द हॉस्पिटल और द डिजाइन ऑफ द हॉस्पिटल ऑल्सो. And there is a limit which has been set by the government in the various area, and that depends upon the different zone, whether that hospital is going to be located in the residential area, commercial area, or something like that, and infrastructure capacity also. Based upon that, you can government will give you the permission for constructing a hospital. So FAR is so much important. Now, if you can, anybody can tell if FAR is on higher side, means it is more than 4, तो बिल्डिंग का जो स्ट्रक्चर होगा वो क्या होगा? बिल्डिंग फ्लैट होगी, टॉल होगी, क्या होगी? ओके. ओके, ठीक है, we will see on that part also. So first we have to understand this floor area, FAR, that is the total covered area of all floors and total plot area. Now we see how it affects the building size. Low FR, matlab if it is less than 115, means floor area is less, then building is going to be automatically, you can think upon that, building is going to be horizontal. It is spread. Means 1.5 कब होगा? क्योंकि as you see in this formula, total plot area, that is the denominator. जब डिनोमिनेटर आपका ज्यादा होगा, मतलब प्लॉट एरिया ज्यादा होगा जिसके ऊपर कंस्ट्रक्शन कम हो रहा है, इट मीन्स है कि नंबर ऑफ फ्लोर कम हो रहे हैं, तभी कंस्ट्रक्शन कम हो रहा है. तो फ्लोर एरिया, आपका टोटल प्लॉट एरिया ज्यादा है और आपका फ्लोर एरिया कम है, तो जो रेशियो होगा वो ऑटोमेटिकली आपका कम हो जाएगा. तो कम रेशियो होने का मतलब क्या हो गया? बिल्डिंग जो आपकी थोड़ी सी फ्लैट हो जाएगी, हॉरिजॉन्टल हो जाएगी. अब इसके हिसाब से वी हैव टू प्लान. अब डिजाइन में क्या होगा? बिल्डिंग विल बी लो राइज बिल्डिंग्स, लार्ज फुटप्रिंट्स होगा, मतलब यू हैव बिग बिग काइंड ऑफ लॉन्स, यू हैव ग्रीन मोर ग्रीनर स्पेस. बट जो सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ऐसी ऐसी बिल्डिंगों में आता है कि आपका जो स्टाफ है, फॉर एनी काइंड ऑफ जॉब परफॉर्मेंस और लॉजिस्टिक, they have to walk more, they have to use some vehicle or something like that, or sometime or otherwise also they have to walk more. So that is why this kind of structure is not uh, it is a not preferred kind of thing. If your hospital has more number of beds, it is only preferred with some limited number of beds, 50, 70 or 80 kind of things. तब आपका ये जो स्ट्रक्चर है लो FR, देन इट इज गोइंग टू वर्क गुड. अब यदि आपने सपोज आप करो, आप 200 बेड का हॉस्पिटल यू मेक, एंड विथ लो एफआर, तो यू कैन इमेजिन कि वो 200 बेड का हॉस्पिटल कितने बड़े एरिया में फैलेगा. एंड फॉर पीपल कमिंग फ्रॉम गोइंग फ्रॉम वन प्लेस टू अदर प्लेस, इट विल टेक सो मच ऑफ टाइम. So that is the impact of this floor area ratio. While construction of the building, you have to think upon that. Okay. Then we talk about the second part, that is the medium FAR, that is considered as 1.5 to 3. And this is a balanced kind of structure. Vertical भी है इसमें and horizontal भी होगा. Vertically थोड़ा सा ज्यादा होगा in comparison to the first thing. And horizontally भी ये spread out होगा. And this is very common in the second and three tier cities. And floor, if we talk about the floor, floors may be 4 to 8 floors with the moderate footprints. Means थोड़ा बहुत space होगा, and there may be the centralized kind of elevators, banks, and all that kind of things. And courtyards and atrium का scope होगा, and under these kind of medium FAR, we can talk about the approx 200 bed multi-specialty hospital that can be considered under these kind of plan. एंड इसमें जो हमारी प्लानिंग होगी बाद में वो हम अपने हिसाब से करेंगे कि नॉर्मली it is always suggested whatever the OPD and the emergency treatment area that is supposed to be on the ground floor for the AG accessibility by the general people. एंड जो हमारे अपर फ्लोर है वहां पे थोड़े से क्रिटिकल एरियाज हम बनाए, आईपीडी बना सकते हैं, आईसीयू बना सकते हैं, ओटी बना सकते हैं, where the patient flow is less. And in between these two, we can create the ward. जहाँ पे नॉर्मल हम मेल वार्ड, फीमेल वार्ड, चिल्ड्रन वार्ड, ऑर्थो वार्ड, all that kind of things we can create. So this is something about the FAR, medium FAR. Then we see high FAR, that is more than 3. Okay, more than 3 is always it is considered under the high FAR. यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि building is totally very vertical, high rise design. It is the building of which hospital? Anybody can tell any idea which hospital is building is this? क्या हो गया? Anyway, people are online or they are just disconnected.
सर कोकिला बैन लिखा हुआ है.
अच्छा, पढ़ लिया. तो दिस इज कोकिला बेन हॉस्पिटल. ओके, तो दिस इज a very high rising kind of hospital. तो यहाँ पे जो FAR रेशियो है वो that is on very higher side. अब you see यहाँ पे जो आपका इसका जो लैंड एरिया है वो जितना है उसके ऊपर इन्होंने कई सारे फ्लोर बनाए. दैट इज वाई फ्लोर एरिया रेशियो आपका बढ़ा. एंड फ्लोर एरिया जो बढ़ा आपका वो इसलिए बढ़ा क्योंकि इसके आपने बहुत सारे स्टोरी बना दिए उस वजह से. तो ये थोड़ा सा आपको ध्यान रखना है. FAR इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर दैट. एंड नॉर्मली इट कंसीडर्स मोर देन 10 प्लस काइंड ऑफ फ्लोर. कॉम्पैक्ट फुटप्रिंट्स है, मतलब चीजें दे आर वेरी वेरी इंटीग्रेटेड विथ ईच अदर. एंड इन दिस काइंड ऑफ डिजाइन यू हैव टू मेक योर पार्किंग or the CSSD and a lot of other things in the basement also. So in these designs, you have to utilize the space of the basement. बाकी others में जो पहला वाला था जिसमें लो FAR रेशियो है वहां पे यू कैन मेक द मतलब यू हैव टू मेक द पार्किंग इन द ओपन एरिया. यू डोंट नीड एनी काइंड ऑफ बेसमेंट पार्किंग. तो स्टैकिंग काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर इसमें बन जाता है. ठीक है. एंड जो बेड है नंबर इसमें ऑलमोस्ट मोर देन 500 और 400 टाइप से जो बेड होते हैं वो होते हैं. एंड इसमें टावर वाइज होता है. तो वी कैन मेक वन टावर फॉर दिस OPD एंड द डायग्नोस्टिक. वी कैन make other towers for the IPD and the critical care. We can make other towers for this various kind of wards and all that. But they all are supposed to be interconnected. So if a structure is something like that, you have to plan accordingly. Okay, you need lot of elevators. Same time, you have to plan about the emergency exit also in case of any kind of fire incident or some kind of disaster kind of things. So you have to do very very critical planning for the exit when such kind of problem created in the hospital. So based upon your fund, your resources, your expertise, and requirement of the society, all that kind of things, you can plan what is the size of your hospital. And if you decide the hospital size, then you can plan further for the from where we will get the fund and all that. कैसे करोगे? तो that is all the interrelated activities and FAR, इसीलिए मैंने इसको यहाँ पे इनिशियल लेवल पे कवर किया so that इसके आगे आने वाली चीजें you can easily understand how we are planning for that. Okay. So for today's lecture, we just stop at this place. If anybody has any kind of doubt or any wants to add any kind of input, please most welcome. You can give that. And in the coming lecture, we will talk about this floor plan optimization. All these things we will discuss in the next coming lecture. As I told you, planning is a very big chapter, है ना? And it takes a lot of time. And this is one of the biggest chapter, but it is always good that we should go through this chapter in detail and we should understand the things, then it is better for us. So anybody wants to give any idea or any input or any suggestion? I hope you are getting the theme or getting the concept what I want to tell you.
सर FAR quite confusing. सर इट मीन्स अगर हमारे पास लार्जर एरिया है तो FIR रेशियो हमारा कम होगा.
लार्जर एरिया है तो हमारा FAR वो आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है ना भाई. लार्जर एरिया है आपके पास, आपको लगता है कि आप सिर्फ 50 बेड का हॉस्पिटल बनाना चाहते हो तो आप उसमें आपको फ्लोर बढ़ाने की जरूरत नहीं है. एंड फ्लोर आप नहीं बढ़ाओगे तो क्या होगा? वो पूरे 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 प्लॉट में तो आप हॉस्पिटल बना नहीं दोगे. यू हैव इनफ प्लेंटी ऑफ ओपन स्पेस, लॉन बना सकते हो, गार्डन बनाओ, दुनिया भर की चीजें यू कैन क्रिएट दैट. तो इट इज अप टू यू. ये तो बिल्डिंग का
मतलब सर ये हमारे प्लानिंग के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कि हम कितने बेड ले रहे हैं और उसको कितने एरिया में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना चाहते हैं. इट्स टोटली डिपेंड अपॉन द हॉस्पिटल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर और बिल्डिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन यूनिट
कंसल्टेंट एंड ऑल दैट. वो उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कि हम कितना एरिया लें, हमारे कितने बेड की प्लानिंग है और साथ ही साथ कितने फ्लोर की प्लानिंग है वो भी. बिकॉज वी हैव टू टेक प्रायर परमिशन फॉर कंस्ट्रक्टिंग दिस फ्लोर ऑल्सो. अलग अलग एरिया में देयर आर लिमिटेशंस, क्योंकि अभी मैंने बताया ना कि रेजिडेंशियल एरिया में रूल्स आर समथिंग डिफरेंट, कॉमर्शियल एरिया में रूल्स आर समथिंग डिफरेंट कि आप इतने ही फ्लोर तक बना सकते हो. तो वो सारे फैक्टर को कंसीडर करने के बाद देन ओनली वी कैन थिंक अबाउट. ऐसा नहीं है.
ओके सर.
ये तो जस्ट आप ये तो आपको एक बेसिक गाइडलाइन समझाने के लिए है कि आप किस तरीके से आप कर सकते हो. और एनीथिंग? क्योंकि ये कॉमनली बहुत पूछा जाता है इसलिए बताने की जरूरत है, इसलिए मैंने थोड़ा एग्जाम्पल भी दे दिया. अदरवाइज मुश्किल होता है कि आदमी ऐसे ये समटाइम क्वेश्चन इस टाइप के आदमी पूछ लेता है. FAR लो है तो बिल्डिंग कैसी होगी, टॉल होगी, हॉरिजेंटल होगी, कैसी होगी? इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन समटाइम्स व्हेन यू गो फॉर सम इंटरव्यू और समथिंग लाइक दैट देन पीपल मे आस्क यू. इसलिए मैंने बताया. ठीक है. Okay, if nobody has any other question, then we can wind up this session and meet you in the next week. And gradually, when we cover this general hospital planning, then after that we will go by some specific area planning, means OPD planning, IPD planning, or diagnostic room planning, X-ray room planning, lab planning, ऑल द इमरजेंसी रूम प्लानिंग. ये सारा प्लानिंग फिर हम थोड़ा सा एरिया के हिसाब से थोड़ा ICU प्लानिंग, तो फ्यू इंपॉर्टेंट एरियाज की प्लानिंग को हम जब ये जनरल प्लानिंग खत्म हो जाएगी देन वी विल प्रोसीड फॉर दैट स्पेसिफिक एरिया प्लानिंग. एंड वहां फिर आप को रिलेट कर पाओगे कि इस प्लानिंग की हमें एक्चुअल जरूरत क्यों होती. ठीक है. ओके.
ओके सर.
थैंक यू टू ऑल ऑफ यू.